It's story time. First of all, I want to thank Cups for letting me borrow this amazing cauldron. This is our Cups cauldron. It's really cool looking. Looks like I've been brewing potions for quite a while. So, welcome friends to our Cauldron Tales. This is where we share Halloween stories with our friends, Jack and Jill. Now, last year we heard the story of Stingy Jack and how he was tricked into carrying his jack-o'-lantern on Halloween night. This year, we're going to learn about the old witch Neda who stole the sun and the moon by Abbie Phillips Walker. Now, as your witch today, I will say witches get a bad rap, but Neda just wanted to keep the place tidy. So we're going to talk about how she tried to keep things tidy. Once upon a time, an old witch named Neda used to jump on her broomstick with another broom in her hand, and she used to fly about the sky, brushing away the cobwebs, as she called them. What she really did was brush away the little rain clouds that the stars used for veils when they were tired of shining. "You let the veils still stay over our faces," said the little stars, quite angry with the old witch Neda. "We want them, you wicked old witch. Go away." How rude. But the witch Neda would only laugh a cackling laugh and go on with her broom, sweeping away the cobwebs. "Silly little stars," said old witch Neda. "They would have the sky in a most untidy state if it were not for me. I have to sweep every night. If I didn't, the sky would be filled with cobwebs. I'd have to sweep veils indeed. Those silly little things, they don't know the difference between a veil and a cobweb." Now one night, the stars were all wearing their veils. Along came old witch Neda with her broom and whisked them off. And the little stars, they were so angry that they forgot their nice manners, and many of them rushed at the old witch Neda, darting little sharp points right into her face and making her wink and blink so they could not see where she was going. And she bumped right into the moon, who was just coming out from behind a cloud to see what was going on. "Look where you're going, old witch," he called. Now old Neda dropped her broom and made a grab for the moon, and she caught him too, right by the nose. "Ha ha ha ha, let go of my nose," he cried. But old witch Neda did not let it go. She hung on and she carried him off to her house on the top of a high mountain. "I'll give those silly stars something to cry about," said the old Neda as she opened a dark closet and she threw in the moon. "They won't have any moonlight for a while, and if I can get the sun, I can have things all my own way in the sky and make those silly stars that were so rude to me tonight, make them sorry." The next day, when the sun was shining and not thinking a thing about any harm coming to him, old Neda put on her smoked glasses and her high-topped cap and a long black cape. Then she jumped on her broomstick and flew straight for the sun. Of course, the stars were asleep and could not warn the sun and thought it was just a black cloud they saw sailing towards them. "Ah, now I can take a little nap," he said. "Here comes a black cloud which I can hide behind for a while. I do get so sleepy, shining all day." And then the sun gave a yawn just to get ready for his nap. But something happened. He didn't just know what, but before he could stop the yawn, he felt a jerk, and he was covered with something black and whizzed along at a terrible rate of speed. He didn't know where. "There, I guess I can run things to suit myself now," said the old witch Neda, as she took from under her cape the sun, winking and blinking and wondering whatever happened to him. Into the dark closet with the moon she threw the sun and closed the door. Of course, the stars awoke as soon as it was dark, and it became dark right away when old Neda stole the sun. So the little stars shone and winked all night and all day because the sun never got up, and they didn't know when night was over. The next night they twinkled, and the next day, but they began to get so sleepy they could not keep their bright eyes open, and one by one they began to nod. "I wonder what can be the matter with us," said one star, trying to keep awake. "This is the longest night I've ever seen." "And I wonder where the moon is," said another. "If we could see him, we might find out why the sun is so lazy this morning." Now old witch Neda was flying about, hidden beneath her black cape. She laughed to herself and she heard what the stars said. "I can tell you where the sun and the moon is, too," she said, throwing off her cape and showing herself to the stars. "I have them both locked in a closet in my house." And off she flew on her broomstick, leaving the poor little stars quite speechless with amazement. "Well, something must be done at once," said one star. "If we let that old witch have the sun and the moon, who knows what will become of us?" "But what can we do?" said another star. "Here we are all up here in the sky, and old Neda's house is on top of a mountain. Besides that, she'll keep a close watch over them, you can be sure. But what do we do? What will become of us?" "One of us must go down there and let them out," said the first star. "Now, which one of us will go? This is the first thing to settle." No one answered for a minute. And then a very little star said, "I'm willing to go, but I am so small, I don't suppose I could do any good." "You are the very one to go, just because you are small," said the first star. "And now I will tell you how it is to be done. The old witch Neda will be up here tonight, you may be sure, because she is happy now that she has the sun and the moon and wants to see how unhappy we are. When she comes tonight, we must make a fuss and cry because we are so upset, not knowing when it's day or night, and beg her to help us. She'll fly around close to us, and when she's very near Little Star, we must wail and cry and attract her attention, and then Little Star must jump on her broomstick right behind old witch Neda." "Oh!" cried all the stars, for they were so afraid of Neda. But Little Star did not cry out. She just winked and blinked and listened to what the first star said. "And I said," continued the first star, Little Star must jump on the broomstick right behind old witch Neda and close her eyes until Neda comes to her house on top of the mountain. Of course, she can only take just one look at them, just to see where the old witch goes. And Little Star must stay very still until old Neda goes to bed, for she usually sleeps in the daytime. When all is still and you're sure she's sleeping, then you must go about very carefully and quietly until you find the closet, where the sun and the moon are kept prisoners, and unlock the door." "But what good will that do?" asked one star. "They'll be out of the closet, but how will they get back to their places in the sky? The old witch will never bring them, of course." "Well, my dear sister, I will tell you that even that can be managed. After you've released the sun and the moon, Little Star, you must hurry to the place where the old witch keeps her magic broomstick and jump on it. Smooth it 3 times one way and 3 times the opposite direction, and it will obey you. You must be careful, however, to smooth it but one way until you have the sun and moon safely on it with you. But shh, here comes old witch Neda." The witch cackled and chuckled when she heard the wailing and crying the stars were making over the loss of the sun and moon. "Oh, give it back to us, give it back to us," they cried. "We'll never be rude to you again, even when you pull off our veils." "Aha," said the witch, laughing loudly. "I guess you won't be rude to me, my silly little stars, for I intend to keep the old moon and sun locked up in my closet and make you shine all the time until you are so sleepy you fall out of the sky." "Oh, oh," cried the stars all together, and old witch Neda flew close to them to better see how they suffered. And then Little Star did as the first star had told her to do, and the next instant she was flying around with old witch Neda towards her house on top of the mountain. Little Star took just one look and saw old Neda go into the house. Then she closed her eyes and waited until she was sure the witch was asleep. Very, very carefully, she opened the door and slipped in, and then looked around from under a door and saw a very bright light and knew that behind the door were the sun and the moon. The key was in the door, and it took only a second to turn it. "Hush, Little Star," said the little star. "I have come to release you. Don't make a sound, but follow me." Little Star took from a chair old witch Neda's big black cape and threw it over the sun and moon so their bright light won't awaken the old witch. In another minute, they were all sitting on their broomstick, while Little Star smothered it 3 times one way and 3 times the other, and then said, "Off to the sky! Take us home, good broomstick." And away they flew, and in a short time the sun was shining in the sky just as if nothing had ever happened to them. And the stars went to sleep, and they slept soundly. They were so tired. Little Star that night took her place in the sky very quietly, but the other stars wanted to know all about her adventures. "Oh, I just did as the first star told me," she replied to Little Star, "and brought back the sun and the moon. That was all." "You were a brave little star," said the first star, "and as a reward, the broomstick of the old witch has been made into stars, which is made into a big cross. And in this cross forever shall you shine, and you will take on more brightness than any of us, brave little star." Of course, the old witch lost her broomstick, so she couldn't bother the stars anymore. So they shone and they twinkled happily, always feeling grateful to Little Star for helping them out of their great trouble. Now, of course, the witch just wanted to keep things clean. She's a little misunderstood, but I'm happy for Little Star as well. Now, Jack is also misunderstood. Jack and his friends like to have fun on Halloween, but people find the skeleton a little scary. So let's share the tale of the 3 Little Skeletons by Kelly Roper. 3 skeletons came out to play beneath the silver Halloween moon. They danced and merrily frolicked away to the distant sound of a distant tune. And as they danced around, they spied some trick-or-treaters with jaws hanging open. Their eyes were filled with disbelief, for not a single word was spoken. So 3 little skeletons turned to them and gave them their very best smiles. See that smile? And held out their arms to invite them all to join in the dance for a while. "Little children, come dance with us. We don't mean you any harm. We're just 3 little skeletons. There's no cause for alarm. We may look a bit scary, but we love Halloween just like you do. Surely there's room for all to have fun, so we'd like to trick-or-treat with you." Despite the skeleton's friendly words, the children refused to take part, and they ran away, every last one, with fiercely beating hearts. Now the skeletons were disappointed, but they shrugged their shoulders and said, "It's too bad they won't join us, so we'll just trick-or-treat ourselves instead." And that's Jack's story for today. Now, Jill, you want to tell a story too, right? Jill wants to get to the good part, which is candy. But before we go trick-or-treating, I have to warn you about the house on Galveston Street, and this is by Kelly Roper. "I warn you not to trick-or-treat at the house on 306 Galveston Street. There's something there you don't want to meet behind that darkened door. Don't walk through that gate that creaks. Don't walk up that overgrown path. Don't knock on that weathered front door, or you may feel its residents' wrath. It's covered in fur and has pointy ears, and it lets out a terrible howl. If you get close enough to smell its breath, you'll find it smells most foul. True, the creature is just 8 inches tall, but don't let that size fool you. That chihuahua can latch onto an ankle and sink its teeth right through you. So remember, don't judge a witch by her broomstick or a skeleton by their bones, and have a very happy Halloween."